What up, what up, what up, what up? We're out here on the streets of Boulder. You know what it is. Holding it down here on the hill. As you can see, not really that many people behind me. But check it out, man. This is what we're gonna do. My project is all about the keyword follow, right? And basically how the definition of it has changed as social media has come into play. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come out here on the streets of Boulder and see what these fine young people have to say, or old, or whatever type of classification of people there is, and see what they got to say about the word follow. Also, we're gonna hit Matt's keyword of computer as well, and just see what everybody's got to say. It's kind of funny, right? If you say, hey man, I'ma follow you, that's creepy. But if you say, hey man, I'm gonna follow you on social media, ain't no big deal, right? So why has that happened? All right, I'm on a tangent. Let's get to this. Here, please.
I'm Eliza and I'm a sophomore.
Okay. All right. So Eliza, this is all related to like social media and follow, and just the digital world in general. So what do you think of when you hear the word follow?
I would say I think of someone who shares similar values with another person and deems their interests similar to their own.
And what do you think of when you hear the word computer?
Computer, I think of it something as more of like a resource, something that you can use to get tasks done.
Okay. In your own words, how are the keywords follow and computer associated together in today's world?
I think they're largely associated with social media and how the two just make social media easier and easier to operate. Things like that with like apps and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah. And so, how would you feel if technology or companies asked to follow you? Would you feel any anxiety? What kind of reactions would you have, just as a human emotion? I'm kind of referring to like when companies or apps are like asking to track your location or like use your location. Like if they said, "Hey, can we follow you?" Would that make you feel differently?
I consider my privacy to be something important for me, so I would have a sense of anxiety and fear, if that makes sense. And so I wouldn't want them to necessarily know my location or track me. Of course, in today's day and age, most platforms do that.
Right. How has the definition of follow changed in your mind relating technology today?
I think it originally started as something to connect between two people, but now it's more just interconnectedness between, like I said, those global platforms and yourself, and more of the tracking versus just sharing similar interests.
Is being followed on social media important to you at all?
Not really. I actually am off many social media platforms for the past couple months because it takes away from my personally my present life and being available for face-to-face conversations. But no, and it used to be more important, I'd say, but now I know that value doesn't lie on the internet. It lies in the individual more so.
Why do you not care about it anymore?
I just think that face-to-face interaction is so much more important, and that people can be so different online than they are in person.
And how is being followed or following related to social status and maybe even socioeconomics class as well, if there is any connection in your mind?
I do think that there's a lot of connection with that. I think that people with more followers are assumed to be that higher socioeconomic status and somewhat more popular. But in reality, I think, like I mentioned, that's false. It's kind of the online reality is not the same as like the actual world reality, and I think that many people forget that those two realities are not the same.
So obviously, this is a kind of a hilarious question. But like, would you be freaked out if I asked to follow you without no context?
Yes, I would be. Again, I consider privacy to be high and important, but again, I'm not on like social media platforms, so I don't necessarily fear that as much. But no, I make sure I know the people who follow me in the broad context, like a friend of a friend or whatnot.
And you can follow anybody in today's age. What kind of computers or technology do you use to follow people or to be followed?
mostly it's professional networks. As of now, I'm more focused on my career in the future. And I'd say following people who can help me go forward in life and my career path. But other than that, like, yes, social media, but more following like current events and people who share my similar interests. So.
All right, thank you.
My name is Chris. I'm 30 years old. I'm like a battery specialist. Right now, though, taking a break from that, and I'm helping out with family business.
Right on. Okay, so Chris, what do you think of when you hear the word follow in today's day and age?
Follow, I think of, since we were talking about it, definitely the social media, you know, like you follow someone on there. And when I think of follow, though, to me, it kind of means more like you're following a movement or you're following an idea, you know, like that's really what that means to me.
What do you think of when you hear the word computer?
Computer, I think of entertainment, I think of information. You know, those are definitely the two things when I think of the computer. Source of information would probably be number one, and then entertainment number two.
In your own words, how are the keywords follow and computer associated together in today's world?
You know, I definitely think, especially in our generation or a little bit younger, like, you know, everything is about the computer, about getting people to follow you. About most businesses are started on the computer, unless it's a brick and mortar. But even then, you know, like raising funding online. Like I have a stepbrother who's like, he's learning all about that in school right now. You know, it's like crowdfunding, and so I think computer and follow definitely go together big time.
How would you feel if technology or companies asked to follow you? Would you feel any anxiety? What type of human reactions would you have? Because there are a lot of times where companies will, or just apps will ask to access your location.
Yeah.
But if they said, you know, can we follow you? I mean, would you be creeped out? Would you be less likely to accept? I guess those are leading questions, but honestly, would you feel more apprehensive?
Yeah, I would feel a little apprehensive if a company was asking to follow me. I feel like I mean, definitely give me your information and see if it's something that I'm like, that I believe in and that I want to follow, you know. But I think it's just straight up asking to follow would be a little bit strong. You know, like I go and hunt out, you know, bands I like, or, you know, different things, and follow them, and, you know, I get stuff from them to check out something else. So like I could definitely lead into something like that, but just to be asked, like, let me follow you would be a little strong for me.
All right, and how has the definition of follow changed in your mind relating to technology? Any change in your own comprehension of the word follow, or has it pretty much stayed the same? How would you say it's changed for you, or if it hasn't changed at all?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, definitely follow would be like, you know, you're following a group, or you're following, you know, Facebook and all those different social medias weren't even a thing. So follow now is definitely equates to that. Like, you know, I think of that. So I would say that has changed quite a bit. You know, before it was definitely a more like face-to-face interaction.
And is being followed on social media important to you at all?
To me, not so much. You know, it's starting to become, you know, because there's certain things I want to do where I would like people to come, like events and stuff. So yeah, you know, I would like people to follow me, but it doesn't equal my happiness, you know. Like those are two separate things.
And
or my worth too, I guess.
Right.
You know. Yeah.
Exactly. How is being followed or following related to social status and maybe even socioeconomic class as well?
Yeah, I definitely can see, because I've had friends, you know, in the past and stuff who, like, that's a very big thing, you know. And my girlfriend, she posts a lot on there, and it's amazing because she'll post something that's about an issue or a topic that's important to her, and nothing to do with bells or whistles or anything like fashion, or, you know, and those will get a few likes, and then she'll post a picture of us, you know, and that'll get like 100 likes. So I feel like, and something too is like people putting up a front of who they want people to see, you know. So I can see that kind of happening, and I know that's a slippery slope, you know. So maybe that's why I've tended to shy away from that, is I really want to be authentic. But I also think there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself and being who you want to be, and so I think, yeah, I mean, that's one thing about the internet. You can be who you want to be, so I think there's definitely a freedom to that, and you might not be born into a rich situation, you know, and maybe that allows you freedom to pursue that.
Hmm. And would you be freaked out if I just asked you to follow you with no context?
Yeah. You know, like,
Like if I just said, "Can I follow you?" Like, would you be?
Yeah.
Would you like? Would it catch on to like, oh, he means social media, or would you just be like, oh, there's some weirdo
oh
who wants
yeah,
to just
I
follow?
would-
Like, how would you respond, or how do you think you'd feel?
yeah, I think I definitely know you're probably you were talking about social media, you know,
Right.
and I think I would be a little bit freaked out if we didn't like have a conversation or something, you know, like, I mean, even just like in passing, like have a conversation like that. I feel like that's important,
Yeah.
you know, like that needs to be a priority.
And you can follow anybody in today's age. What kind of computers or objects or technology related objects do you use that are basically computers to follow people or to be followed yourself?
Like my cell phone, I guess, and like, you know, it's funny because like I mean, we're in the record shops, music, obviously, so like different publications, you know, like, I definitely find stuff I like and you know pursue that, and technology. I mean, that would probably be it. Just my cell phone and you know my laptop and you know mostly like publications. I would say, you know, or some interactions too occasionally, but yeah.